Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Singobile Volasibanda, and I'm from Wolverhampton Central Church. And today I'll be presenting to you the child care babysitting honor. I think most of you are just wondering why babysitting. Before we even go into that, I would just want to check your memory for a bit and find out how well you know your Bible. Who is the greatest babysitter mentioned in the Bible? Who do you know? Anyone? Type your responses.
Yes, Pathfinders. Let's type of responses on the chat there. Who's the greatest babysitter mentioned in the Bible? So the first question that came with the question marks is Jesus, and another one they're flying it through now is Miriam, and there's a comments there say Mary. Do two of them. So thank you, Micah. Thank you, Sia, and Jeremiah was asking us a question. Say Jesus in the question mark.
Okay, let's
And
find out.
Jesus as well.
I had one in mind, and I've got all the clues here. Her father was a slave, which means she's a lady. She had two brothers, and she was very, very brave. Why she was brave? There was something around her while she was babysitting her little brother. And who is that? Have they answered?
So the comments are coming through there. Miriam is flying through there. There was a comment about Elizabeth, but yes, this comment. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Michael. Miriam.
Yes, you're right. That's Miriam. It is Miriam.
We have the same answer from Peta from Facebook, so we all agree on that one.
Okay, well done. Oh, yes, it was Miriam who was babysitting Brother Moses. And most of you are most probably asking yourselves, why babysitting? And most probably rolling your eyes. Why? Okay, then let's find out why. You know, babysitting could be used as a way of reaching out to your neighbors, relatives, or friends, or even visitors in your local church. Remember, a church that ministers well to children will attract and retain their parents as members. Remember, our theme this year is working with the community, reaching out to those that are in the community. So, how can we attract them? Right there, that's your answer there. Another one could be, you could be a helping hand at home so mom can take a break. We moms, we would love breaks. Not that we find it as a burden to look after our babies, no, but we just need just that little break. Even if it's for mom to go and soak in the bath or for mom to just take a 10-minute nap, that will be useful. I'm sure most of you have brothers and sisters at home and you definitely help your mummies. Parents appreciate the opportunity to get away from the baby for a few hours. It could be for a date night or a pamper night, just anything. They would really appreciate it. And it's good, at least for them to leave their baby with somebody from church who they can trust, somebody who they know, somebody who would know what to do and what songs to sing to the baby. And it could be a way of raising funds. Remember, ADRA is around the corner, so you could raise funds by babysitting for church members, and maybe they'll give you £2, a pound, £5, even £10 or 20. And it could be used as a way of collecting your pocket money for saving for holidays. Remember, we've got Pathfinders who are in the PPE team. In the past, we used to travel to America, so you could easily use that to make funds so that you can go shopping in America. Or to buy gifts. Remember, we celebrate birthdays, some celebrate Christmas, some celebrate a lot of events. So instead of asking mommy and daddy to give you money, you could easily use yours because you earn money by babysitting. And hey, it's a good way of earning money, especially as a young child. It is a safe way because most of you can't drop the newspapers, isn't it? because when you need to work and drop newspapers, you've got to work Saturday as well. But on this one, you can choose when to work, what days, what times. So we've got to complete a few requirements, obviously, so that you are able to have this childcare, to be able to look after a baby safely. What are the requirements? Okay. So after starting the other requirements in this order that I'll go through with you, and after taking care of a baby while its mother is present, please note, while its mother is present, you'll be ready to take care of a baby in its mother's absence. Offer to watch the baby of a relative, friend, neighbor, or church member. They may offer to pay you, but if you do it for free, you can count time spent watching the baby as community service or outreach for your folders. Or one other thing that I forgot to mention was you might not be able to go and watch your neighbor's child or a church member, mainly because they are not in your circle. Remember, times have changed, but I think you guys still have relatives that are in your bubble that you can volunteer to look after their babies. And then there are many outreach opportunities for meeting this requirement. If your church is conducting an evangelistic seminar, you can offer your services in the nursery or junior Sabbath school, or weddings or seminars. The list is endless. You guys can come up with different types of events where you will have the opportunities of looking after babies. Type it in your comments there, what you're thinking of doing, where you'll be able to look after a child, so that we can hear different views.
Okay, Pathfinders, please give us this extra any other suggestions that you can be taking part in terms of taking babysitting. So please type it up on the comments, so we can hear other view.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going
comments.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've got a comment there. Says,
yes.
The first one says I don't know. NJ then say I don't know. So I couldn't. Yeah. Type it. Elaborate a little bit. But go ahead.
Okay, then. We're going to look at safety. Remember, the main purpose for mommies to leave you with their babies because they want the baby to be safe. So you've got to think about safety at all times. Okay. So can and cannot. Understand your abilities and limitations. Make sure that you are comfortable babysitting a toddler before you volunteer your services. From a distance, it looks very, very easy. It's a baby. I'm going to play with the baby all day. But no, there are some things that are a little bit challenging that you have to take into consideration. Also, take into consideration your age. Obviously, the mother of the baby or the primary caregiver will be able to see if you are capable of looking after their child. Remember, we said you have to look after the baby first when the parent is there with you, and then obviously gradually they'll leave you for maybe half an hour or an hour or 4, and then you'll be able to look after the baby for a longer period of time. And then also consider, how well do I know the baby? What's that baby doing there, and why do you think the baby is crying? Can you answer in the sections? Why do you think the baby is screaming?
Yeah, type up some ideas. So why do you think the baby will be
While you do
crying?
that, I'll read this statement.
Crying or screaming.
Make sure you are well informed. Toddlers have very special needs that are quite different from children of other age groups. Be aware of them so that you'll be able to keep the child that you are watching safe. Do we have any answers there?
Yes, so the coach that says that the person on the left is making noise.
Yeah.
That's from Micah.
Micah, well done.
And
yes,
then another comment from Annabelle says, because the noise is too loud. And Jeremiah says the guy is using a megaphone to speak to them.
Yes.
So we have some answers on Facebook as well. We have from Andreas, maybe needs a change, tired, need food. Gela said maybe it's pain or hunger. Richard is definitely about, it's time for nappy change. Petra, she says it's hungry or tired. And Gela says, missed mommy for
Yeah.
sure.
You guys are so experienced in babysitting, aren't you? All of those questions are completely correct. But in this case, look at the speaker there. The baby is very sensitive to noise. Most babies are sensitive to noise. So while you're looking after the baby, be mindful, especially when you're on the phone. Some of us, when we get our phone calls from our friends, hell, we scream, hello, and we laugh, but we're not sure what impact it has on the baby. So you've got to know the baby first, so that at least you'll be able to keep the baby safe and also not to distress the baby. Okay, then, and also be aware of what the baby is allergic to. It could be the cat hairs, smell from your Snicker chocolate bar. Remember, some kids are allergic to nuts. You could have brought in your own snack thinking, oh, I might have my little snack while I'm watching the baby, but the baby will be allergic to nuts and something could happen to the baby, isn't it? So you just have to be mindful that you know the baby. And also, while you're babysitting the baby, you have to check out for small objects that can choke a child. Make sure the environment or the playroom is clutter-free of small objects a child could reach out and grab. Look at that little boy. The first thing that comes into his mind when he picks something is get to go in his mouth. They are not sure whether they can eat it but all they can do is just to put it in their mouth. So be mindful of that. Pens and pencils or anything with a sharp point or a sharp edge that could cut or blind a child. Look at that poor baby. The crayon is just in her mouth. It could be they miss the mouth and they stick it on the eye. So you just have to be careful that the environment is clutter free. Be alert when a baby is sleeping in a baby cot to make sure they do not wake up and, oh, I think I've jumped a few slides, haven't I? Oh, no, I haven't. That's okay. And also one other thing that you have to do is to be alert when a baby is sleeping in a baby cot. I don't know what's happening there, Pastor, because I've got all the pictures on my slide on the right. I can't see some of my writing.
Oh, okay. Can you know? Is it something missing from your slide? Did you say?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Just click it to the next slide and see if.
Okay. So you have to be alert at all times when the baby is sleeping in a baby cot, just to make sure the baby does not wake up and try to get out, or does not wake up and try to pull things. Look at that poor little baby on the picture. He's pulling the blinds, the strings to the blinds. Anything fatal could happen. He could have those strings around his neck. Remember, it's a baby, they are playing. They can't see what's dangerous and what's not. So you have to be careful. Once you're babysitting and the baby is sleeping, that doesn't mean, oh, I can watch what I want, I can do what I want. No, you have to stay alert at all times. And also be alert when a baby is sleeping in a baby cot to make sure they do not wake up and try to get out. Look at that little baby. He's trying to get out there. So be mindful. And one other thing, while you're babysitting, never open the door to anyone except the parents while you are babysitting. Remember, when you're in people's houses, anyone can knock by the door. It could be people who are selling something, it could be maybe their visitors. But because they haven't informed you of any visitors or they haven't informed you of anyone dropping a parcel, just stay indoors. It won't harm for them not to have a response. They will eventually go. Your duty is to look after the baby and no one else. Okay? So, we've all been thinking, I suppose, while I'm babysitting, what should I do? Honestly, let's say maybe they leave you for 4 hours. Come and babysit my baby for 4 hours. And you're scratching your head. What can I do with the baby? Yes, we've got a few things that we're going to point out, but I want you guys as well to type your answers. What else can you do? I know you guys are very creative. You know a lot of things that you could do to entertain a baby, to keep a baby occupied.
Okay, let's see some you typists. What can you do with the baby to entertain, to keep the baby occupied? Before that, thank you, Jeremiah. I see some comments when the slides of the blinds. It says it's trying to get out to use the blind string. And there's another one, the blinds can fall. They actually fall to baby. So thank you,
That's
Micah.
true.
Yeah. See a comment there from Tamu. Thank you, Tamu. Play with them. That's one of the comments. That's what we could do.
Okay, then.
And James says, sing to them. James Banda, thank you. And then do craft with them. That from Jeremiah.
Well done.
And then another one, I just say, well, a few more coming through. Let me just read them. Harriet says, singing nursery rhymes. And then Hannah, Leah, and Chan say, let them watch TV show. If you're tired, play with them. And then Tam says, watch cartoon with the baby. Watch movie. And put it the baby swing with all their toys. So a few ideas comes through. I'm not sure if there's anything from Facebook, Pastor.
Okay.
If not, we can go ahead.
All right, then. So we've said, obviously, you've said play games with them, but what sort of games? Remember, you've got to choose what's appropriate for the baby. I've got a picture there. You could play the certain games or a Lego game or any other game that really gives that toddler's brain a workout. Remember, not all children are allowed to watch TV, and not all programs on TV are good for babies. So as the babysitter, you could come up with creative things to do with the baby. So you could play that game, sorting out, and entertain the baby. You could make use of the toys that are already available to the baby or toddler, like one of you has said, just play there sorting out things. And you could definitely sing them songs. And just like babies, toddlers love when you sing them a song. It could be Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It could be Jesus Loves the Little Ones, Wheels on the Bus, Old MacDonald's, and similar songs are tried and tested favorites for young children. Okay, so you sing to them to get their attention. At times, babies, when they're crying, if you sing to them, they stop. At times, you sing to them as a lullaby to put them to bed. Or at times, you sing to them just to entertain them, sing and dance wherever you can to entertain the baby. Or read a book for them. Most children love to have books read to them. It can even be a good way to calm down very active toddlers and get a bit of a break from chasing them around. One of you mentioned that you could be tired. Oh yes, you will be tired because babies run around. So when you're tired of running around, get a book, engage them, get them to a point to point out different animals if you're reading an animal book to you and ask them what noises each animal makes, how it moves, and even what it likes to eat. Look at that baby there. I think that baby can't even see or can't even see what's going on, but look at the attention. See what you can do. A book can work magic, you know. You can keep the baby entertained. And also try counting games and also teach them colors. Right, we're now going to the next slide. Remember, you can play, but babies still need to eat. At some point, you will have to either prepare milk for babies or prepare a snack for a toddler. So today we're going to look at preparing milk. Obviously, moms will make sure the bottles are sterilized before you come in, and they'll show you where the bottles are kept. But as a safety precaution, make sure the bottles are clean. If using formula, make sure you mix it according to the directions. If using milk, put only as much as the baby needs in the bottle. Remember what we've said when we started to say you have to look after the baby when the mom is present, so that at least you would know how much milk does the baby drink, what does the baby like to do, which milk does the baby prefer. So the baby's usual caregiver she'll be able to tell you how much and how often the baby should be fed. And you should also listen attentively, or if you want, you can write it down so that you are able to remember. And we have ways of warming baby milk. Who can guess? Can you type the different types of ways of warming baby milk? Can you type them there?
Okay, Pathfinders, let's type what's the different ways of warming baby milk. What are the different ways of warming baby milk? Straight away, I see a comment coming through. Say, what first one from Sia says a microwave. Another one from Annabelle. Thank you for that. So Annabelle says boiling. And then Michelle J1 says use hot water, never a microwave.
All right. Somebody mentioned here at the Facebook, Peter, she said bottle warmer is one option to warm the milk.
Yes.
Yep. And yes, Jeremiah again say put powder in hot water, or puts them in a hot and sunny place. That's from Hannah.
Well
some
done.
Comments.
Thank you so much. Brilliant points there. Yes, you're right. The problem with heating milk in a microwave is that it heats the milk unevenly. So there may be pockets of milk that are hot enough to burn the baby's mouth, while other parts of the milk are still cold. So you have to shake the milk vigorously after removing it from the microwave so that it will be safe for the baby to drink. And if I can ask, how do you test if the milk is hot enough, if it's regulated to the right temperature? Can you suggest down there? What would you do? How would you test?
Yeah, let's get some suggestions, Pathfinders. How would you test? How would you test that the milk is warm enough? And very quick typing fingers here. Sia says, put it on my hand. And then Micah says, not the microwave because the plastic can melt. That's referring to how you warm it up. And Michelle says, pour a small amount of inside of your wrist. David Chike says, spoon a tiny bit onto your hand. Yeah, if we've got any comments on Facebook there, Pastor.
I was just drinking water. Sorry about that. Yes. Gela says back of the hand. On the back of the hand comes also from Peter. And definitely, again, from an Anderson suggestion to avoid microwave altogether.
Well done. Oh, that's correct. So you're going to use your hand because that's the soft part of your body, just to test if the milk it's in the right temperature for the baby. Thank you so much. And then before giving heated milk to a baby, always check its temperature by squirting some on your wrist or on the soft side of the forearm. These areas of your body are sensitive to heat. If the milk feels hotter than your skin, do not give it to the baby. Mix up some more, try heating it less, or put it in the refrigerator until it cools down to body temperature. Okay, let's go to feeding the baby. So a very young baby does not have sufficient strength in her neck muscles to support her head. In this case, you must support the baby's head while feeding her. Look at the young lady on the screen, the way how she's supporting the baby's head while they feed the baby. So be sure to hold the bottle so that the milk always covers the nipple. If you quit paying attention and the bottle slips around, causing the baby to suck air instead of milk, that way, the baby will swallow air and get a tummy ache. And that's not what we want to do. So at all times, pay attention on what you're doing. And then after giving the baby the milk, we have a process of what we call burping the baby. So when the baby quits drinking the milk, indicating that that's enough for the baby at that time, take away the bottle, then burp the baby. This is done by holding the baby against your chest with her head over your shoulder. Lightly pat the baby on the back until she burps. She may discharge some of the milk on your shoulder when she burps. Be prepared for that. As we can see from the picture, Dad put a little cloth to cover his t-shirt and he's wrapping the baby on the back there to burp the baby. So do not forget to burp the baby. Why do you think we burp babies after they drink milk?
Oh, Pathfinders, I'm ready to learn here. So, type it up. Why do you think we need to burp the baby after finish feeding them? Let's see. Let's see some comments. Yeah. So the first one comment comes through there from Tamu, says they don't, so they don't choke. Thank you, Tamu.
Mm-hmm.
And Micah says because if not, they could vomit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Annabelle says to help with digestion.
Yep.
And yeah, go ahead and we'll pick up other comments as they come along, unless there's another from Michelle says to prevent colic.
Yeah, we have also Peter, which says on the Facebook, prevent them from being sick and helps their digestion as well.
Yes, well done.
There's
So
a comment. So there's a comment from
okay.
Sia there. Says so that they don't aspirate.
Wow. Well done, guys. All of your answers are quite correct. Burping helps to get rid of some of the air that babies tend to swallow during feeding. So not being burped often and swallowing too much air can make a baby spit up. And when they spit up, if they're already sleeping, they could swallow and choke on it. Somebody said that. Or it can make them a little bit cranky or grassy. So then you won't be doing it, you won't be babysitting properly when the baby, what the baby does is just cry. So make sure at all times you burp the baby safely. Okay. And then obviously at some point you will wash the baby. Okay. So babies cannot tell you if the water, sorry. So babies cannot tell you if the water is too hot, so you must be careful to ensure that the temperature of the water is right. Fill in the tub, which is about 2 inches or 5 centimeters of water, and check that the temperature is comfortable. You do not want it to be too hot, nor should it be too cold. You must not leave the baby unattended while you're washing the baby, even for a few seconds. Remember, at times you could easily put the baby into the bath, especially if you don't put everything that you need together. You think, oh, I forgot the towel. Let me just leave the baby for a few seconds and quickly get the towel. No, you can't do that. If you have to do that, you have to take the baby out of the bath and then go and take the towel and then come back with the baby. Because the babies can easily drown. You don't want them drowning or choking on water. Let's look at the pictures there. You can see whoever was trying to bath the babies put everything ready. They've got all the dish, they've got the cotton bubbles to use, they've got the towels, they've got the change of clothes and towels. And one of the things that we have to do to test the temperature, look at that picture, look at the lady, what she's doing, checking the temperature there. So you will need everything. Bring everything you will need for the bath to the tub before you bring the baby in. So we've got a little duck in there that we can use to check if the temperature is right. So you will use whatever is there at home of the baby that you're babysitting that's available. Remember, you don't want to burn a baby. Can you look at that little baby? Unfortunately, she was burned. And a burn injury, remember, is for life. The scars are physical as well as psychological and can present lifelong challenges for the individual and their families. And I think it won't be nice as well for yourself to see the baby grow many years later with a burn, thinking, oh, I'm the one who did that. So I think it's very, very important for you to be careful Okay? At least 30 babies and toddlers attend accident and emergency services due to burns. This was taken from the Supporting National Burn Awareness Day, which was done in 2019. So be careful at all times. Look at the mommy there washing the baby. She's supporting the head. Can you see? So how are we going to actually wash the baby? So remember to always stay with the baby when it is on the tub. A baby can easily drown in even half an inch of water. If the phone rings, do not leave the baby so you can answer it. Let it ring or take the baby with you, wrap her in a towel or so that she doesn't get cold when you decide to answer the phone. The same goes for the doorbell or any other distraction. So first, wash the baby's face, starting with the area around her eyes. Do not use soap on her face. Why do you think we don't use soap around the face? Type in your answers there. Just use a wet washcloth, that will do. It is better to wet the washcloth from the faucet rather than from the tap because the baby may have, peed or in the water. You won't wash your own face in that, would you? So don't wash the baby's face in it either. The reason you start with the eyes is because they are susceptible to infections. Use one corner of the washcloth on one eye and a different corner of the washcloth on the other eye. This will prevent spreading an existing infection from one eye to the other. So after you're finished washing the baby's face, you can wash her hair. Did you get any comments there?
Yeah, I've got a comment here from Micah. Thank you. Micah says she can open her eyes and it will seriously sting. Thank you for that. That's the reason not to use the soap. So if there's any more comments, please type them on. So far, we've only got one comment, so we can go ahead and we'll pick them up.
Okay. So I've got pictures of baby soaps there. Use a gentle soap and a shampoo on the baby just to wash their body. Baby's skin is more sensitive than yours, so you must use extra gentle soap. Also be careful to not get any soap or shampoo in the baby's eyes. Micah has already given us the answer why. Baby shampoo and soap will not damage the baby if it does get in the eyes, but it may hurt and the baby may cry. Some babies do not like to get water on their faces, even if the soap doesn't make her eyes sting. You can buy a visor to put around the baby's head to divert the water away from her face when rinsing shampoo out of her hair. Otherwise, you can tilt the head way back and support it with your hand and carefully rinse her head that way. Remember what we said when we started, always watch the mom first, what they do to the baby, how they wash the baby, so that at least you can be able to do the same thing. Finally, you're ready to wash the baby's body, I think by now, with all what we've learned. So you've already washed the, start with the neck, chest, tummy, back, arms, then move to the legs and feet, and wash the diaper area last, as that area is most likely to pick up germs. And then obviously when you've finished washing the baby, at some point when you wash babies, they will kind of like feel tired and they would want to sleep. So we'll move on to preparing the bed. So babies soil their sheets more often than other people. So it's very important to check that the sheets are clean before putting the baby to bed. How do babies soil their sheets? What do you think? How do you think they'll soil their sheets or their pillows?
If we can type a comment and say why do you think?
Remember, babies, we've said when we're feeding them, they can burp, isn't it? They they do bathe. At times they bring up a little bit of sick, so that will spoil the pillows or spoil their sheets. And one other thing, remember, they can't go to the toilet. They can't control their motions. So at times they will soil their bed. So sometimes a baby will need to have its sheets changed more than once in a day. So we'll not go into all the things that a baby can do to soil the sheets, but we've already stated a few. You guys know what else could happen. So a Pathfinder can well imagine the possibilities without the help, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a comment there from Sia, says nappy overflow.
It could be. Okay, then let's look at the sleeping positions. Child rearing experts frequently debate the proper way to lay a baby down for sleep. Some say to lay them on their tummies so that if they spit up, they'll not choke on the sputum. Others say to lay them on their backs so they do not bury their faces in the soft mattress or blanket and suffocate. This has happened in the past. This can be addressed by using only a firm mattress in the baby's bed and by not having a lot of blankets and other items in the bed with the baby. Comforters should also be avoided until the baby is able to turn herself. So you've got to be careful as well when putting the baby to sleep. Judge as well, are there a lot of blankets? Do I need to take a few blankets out? What did mom say, mom of the baby, say to you? Obviously, they would have given you instructions to say, when I put the baby to bed, I do A, B, C, D. And make sure at all times you follow those instructions so that you keep the baby safe. Okay. Some parents, remember, there are different ways of putting the baby to sleep. Some parents will wait until the baby falls asleep in their arms and then carefully put them to bed. And others are able to put the baby on the bed when it is awake and then massage the baby or sing a song, a lullaby up until the baby is asleep. So try to find out how the baby is used to being put to bed before you have to do it yourself. Remember as well, there's awareness on this sudden infant death syndrome, sometimes known as the cot death. It is sudden, unexpected, and unexplained death of an apparently healthy baby. So in the UK, more than 200 babies die suddenly and unexpectedly every year. So you've got to be very, very careful about this. So when putting the baby, make sure the baby is very, very safe at times. Don't be scared, but be careful.
Yes, I see the comments there. Just say, as you prepare for next slide, is for Michelle. Thank you for that. Says the UK guidance is to put the babies in their back to sleep.
And one of our requirements again is know how to wear a baby and to fill in the weigh schedule. Look at that baby there, that's smiling on a scale. You could easily use a scale. That is if you can keep the baby still. But from the look of the things, it's not really still because the doctor is holding onto the scale. That will not give you a proper reading, isn't it? So I've got a few tips for you on how to wear a baby. So unless you have a baby scale, this is going to present an easily overcome difficulty. So babies cannot stand until they are about 8 months old or so. So then they are not steady. So by the time they gain steadiness, they're not interested in standing on a scale while you try to get a reading. So the easy way to deal with this is to wear both yourself and the baby, carry the baby, jump onto the scales, and then subtract your weight from the weight that you got when you were carrying the baby. And then you're able to come up with a proper reading. Look at the picture there. It's mom trying to multitask. So you could multitask as well. Instead of putting the baby down or trying to keep the baby calm on the scale, you could easily jump on the scales with the baby and then weigh both of you and then subtract your weight from there. So when you've got the weight, you've got to put it on a scale. And as part of your requirement, You will have to ask your mummies or your daddies. Some of you still have your red books. Everyone who was born in the UK has a red book. So ask if you could see the red book and have a look at this baby growth chart for girls and for boys. It's a pink one I've just put for girls, but they also have one for boys because we both grow differently. Okay, so for your requirements, you will need to know how to plot this. And also know how to wear the baby and fill in the weigh schedule. So you've got to wear for height. It means that he is taller than 60% of children of the same age and gender. That is explaining the chart that I've put on. So in places where these forms are not filled out at home, it should be sufficient to understand that these measurements can be compared to national averages to track a child's development. This is very important for a baby, especially if they are growing, so that they can determine what help is needed for the baby. Is the baby feeding okay? Is the baby growing okay? Does the baby have any abnormalities? Is the baby has any challenges in terms of growing? And they're easy to identify so that the health visitor or the doctor is able to identify where mom needs help. And then we could come to breastfeeding benefits. Remember, we've learned how to prepare the milk, and we're going to look at breastfeeding benefits. So the benefits of breastfeeding are both physical and psychological for both mother and child. So nutrients and antibodies are passed to the baby while hormones are released into the mother's system. The bond between baby and mother can also be strengthened during breastfeeding. Look at the baby there breastfeeding, which means mom can't do anything else but just to give attention to the baby. And look how the whole family is bonding as well, dad on the side with mom and the child, and they are just one happy family. So breastfeeding can have those benefits. And I'll also explain why breastfeeding is superior to bottle feeding. It says breast milk, when fed directly from the breast, is immediately available with no wait. And the body, you don't need to warm it. Breastfed babies have decreased risk of several infant conditions, including sudden infant death syndrome. The sucking technique required of the infant encourages the proper development of both the teeth and other speech organs. Sucking also has a beneficial role in the prevention of obstructive sleep apnea. The many health benefits of breastfeeding have been well documented according to the American Academy of Pediatrics policy statement. Extensive research, especially in recent years, documents diverse compelling advantages of infants, mothers, families, and society from breastfeeding and the use of human milk for infant feeding. These include health, nutritional, immunological, developmental, psychological, social, economic, and environmental benefits. Okay, then. So let's look at the myth about breastfeeding. In as much as there are a lot of advantages about breastfeeding, remember, not everyone can do it. So there's a myth around breastfeeding. If you don't nurse, you're a bad mom. Although breastfeeding provides significant health benefits for your baby and you, deciding not to breastfeed or being unable to breastfeed for whatever reason doesn't make you an unfit mom. So feed your baby a formula if that's what makes you feel good about it, and just move on. Remember, babies, look at that little picture. Your kids don't want a perfect mom, they just want a happy mom. So by the end of the day, families or mothers do what's perfect for them and what works for them. Okay, so when the baby is done with breastfeeding, obviously they have to introduce solids, which we call weaning. What types of solids do you think babies can tolerate?
Okay, Pathfinders, it's your time to interact there and type it up. What types of solid foods do you think the baby can tolerate or can start to eat? So go ahead and type your comment. Yes, Jeremiah said mashed potatoes.
Wow.
One comment
What
there.
else?
Pureed vegetables. Thank you, Carol.
Yes.
Say Cora.
Yes. Well done. So, weaning is the process of gradually introducing the infant to what will be its adult diet and withdrawing the supply of milk. The infant is considered to be fully weaned once it no longer receives any breast milk and begins to rely on solid foods for all its nutrition. Look at those babies there.
Just a few more comments as you're looking at those pictures. So yes, yogurt is Sia says yogurt, and Tamu says chopped fruit or vegetables, and Jeremiah says yogurt.
So
Thank you.
You could chop your fruits and mash them. Remember, they can't chew at this point. All they're used to doing is just drinking milk. So whatever you're going to do, you've got to crush it either using a fork or put it in a crusher or whatever way you prepare it and feed it to the baby. It's got to be smooth. It doesn't have to have lumps. Some people try bananas as well, mash the banana and try it on a baby, and also all types of vegetables. What most parents do is they pick out just one thing at a time. If they decide today I'm going to feed the baby with potatoes, mashed potatoes, they give the baby potatoes, and so that at least they can see what their baby can tolerate and what can't tolerate. Then obviously if they've seen that everything works for the baby now, they'll start mixing everything together or just preparing the whole meal that everyone is eating in the whole family and then put it in a blender and feed the baby. Look at that little baby there. When mom says one last spoon, but feeds you 3 more, that's mothers for you.
Good comment on there regarding blender. So Sia did say it's put in a blender, and Micah Jeremiah says smoothie, and Micah also puts a comment says as to be an edible non-notonium liquid.
Yes. Remember, we don't want our babies to choke. You don't want the baby that you're babysitting choking. And I think one other thing that you guys could do, remember we talked about reaching out. You guys could come up with your meal plan, and at least maybe if you visit somebody who's non-Adventist, or let's say maybe you can share a few recipes on what to give the babies. You could discuss it with your your leader, or you could discuss it with your parents to say, oh, I'm going to babysit a 2-year-old baby. What can I suggest they give to the baby? Or you can, as you guys are so clever, you can access it on the internet. Just look for anything that will do, and at least try and suggest it. You know, some parents are actually open-minded. They can take anything. So make sure as well you bring something while you're babysitting the baby. You bring a menu, mom will be happy to take the menu. And also, yeah, we've come to completing the honor, what you would need to do to complete the honor. Remember, to complete the honor, you need to at least look after the baby for at least 24 hours, not just 24 hours in a chunk. You have to start with maybe half an hour or 15 minutes. Visit the family or your aunt or whoever. That is if after COVID, when we're allowed to visit people that are outside our bubbles. But if you have a baby at home, or if those babies are within your bubble, you can volunteer to look after the baby maybe for 30 minutes while mom takes a bath, or in their presence. So you've got to look after the baby in their presence first, so that you build your confidence, so that also the family trusts you first. Okay, so you've got to start with half an hour, build up your trust with the parents. Not all parents can just leave their babies. So of the baby, and also your confidence, you can build your own confidence as well. And trust me, it's not as easy as it looks to look after a baby. So take your time, start with 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and then gradually build it on. And also, I'll want you to list all the precautions to be taken when looking after a baby. For instance, include privacy. These days, you guys are on all types of social medias. I know it's nice at times to update your status and tell your friends what you're doing at that point in time. Some people could easily take a picture with the baby, cuddling the baby, and update your status. Oh, looking after the baby. But does mom want you to do that? Remember, not all parents want to expose their children to different types of social medias. So be careful. There are certain things that you have to abide by. Also look at other things as well. It could be you're babysitting, the baby's asleep. You've seen a letter there, you've seen something. Do you open the letter? No, you don't. You're in the house to look after the baby and just the baby. Whatever happens, that's none of your business. So also just identify how you can keep the family private. And number 3, you've got to prepare, bathe, change, and dress the baby under supervision. And obviously, when it comes a time when you have to look after the baby when the parents are not there, you'll have to do it safely. And also prepare and feed a baby under supervision. You've got to ask for permission to take pictures for your folder as part of your evidence. Remember, obviously, you can't just say, oh, yes, I've completed this honor. I've just looked after so-and-so. Speak to the mom. Tell them, oh, can I please take pictures that I'll strictly use just for my folder for your teachers to sign you off. Don't take that folder and post it on social media. Make sure you keep the promise just to use it strictly for your folder. And also, one other task that you could do that is after COVID or after lockdown, interview staff at a local daycare center regarding their organization and the help they offer to mothers. There are different types of helps that are offered to mothers, like I identified in terms of breastfeeding or in terms of feeding the baby, or even psychologically supporting the mom. Just find out about those and put them in your folder and hand them over to your teacher. All right, we've come to the end of our presentation. Do we